Hey everyone, and welcome back for another deep dive. Today we're going on a journey into the Quran.
Ooh, exciting.
Yeah, specifically chapter 24, often called the Light or An-Nur in Arabic.
Right.
And this chapter is so interesting because it's this really unique blend of legal rulings and spiritual guidance. And it even has some really vivid imagery.
Wow.
And we're going to be focusing on how it tackles social interactions, moral conduct, and the pursuit of justice and truth within the Muslim community.
So right off the bat, what's really captivating about this chapter is how it kind of lays down the foundation for building a just and ethical society, you know? It doesn't shy away from tackling those difficult issues. And from the very start, it dives headfirst into the complexities of justice and truthfulness. Especially when it comes to something as sensitive as accusations of adultery.
So setting the foundation for a society that's built on trust and accountability.
Exactly.
So how does the Quran approach this?
Well, it's incredibly methodical and emphasizes the weight of evidence. Verses 2 through 17. They lay out very specific guidelines requiring 4 witnesses to actually prove adultery.
Wow.
And what's really striking is the severity of the consequences for those who make false accusations.
Oh, wow.
They face 80 lashes.
Oh, my God.
It's a strong deterrent, just to highlight how seriously the Quran takes slander.
Wow, that definitely underscores the importance of evidence and, the potential harm of unfounded accusations.
Absolutely.
It makes you think about even today, how easily misinformation can spread and the devastating impact it can have.
Precisely. And the Quran even goes further, showing a deep concern for fairness, even in these deeply personal matters. So in cases where only spouses are witnesses, verses 6 through 9, they detail specific oath-taking procedures.
Oh, wow.
It's complex, but it demonstrates the Quran's commitment to due process,
So it's not just about punishing the guilty, but it's also about safeguarding the innocent.
Exactly.
And making sure there's a fair process for everyone involved.
Absolutely.
It's interesting how these verses resonate with our own concerns about truth and justice, even centuries later.
Absolutely. The core principles remain so relevant.
Yeah.
Verse 11 really drives home the gravity of spreading slander. Highlighting that, those who participate in spreading these falsehoods, they bear a share of the sin.
It's a stark reminder of the responsibility we all have to be mindful of what we say and share, especially in today's world where information travels so fast.
Yes.
It's like the Quran is urging us to be critical thinkers and to carefully consider the impact of our words.
Precisely. The Quran encourages a society where truth and justice are paramount and individual rights are protected, but it goes beyond that. So while justice forms this bedrock of a society, the Quran also offers guidance on building respectful relationships through proper social conduct. Things like modesty and respect for privacy.
You mentioned social conduct, and that makes me think of those verses 27 through 31.
Right.
Where the Quran addresses things like entering homes and greeting others. It even touches upon dress codes.
Yes.
For both men and women.
Absolutely.
It makes me wonder, was this about just outward appearances? Or was the Quran pointing towards a deeper concept of modesty that's relevant even today?
That's a great question. It definitely speaks to this deeper concept of modesty that goes beyond just clothing.
Right.
The verses emphasize covering certain parts of the body and not openly displaying one's beauty except to close family members, you see. It's about promoting respect and avoiding behaviors that could lead to inappropriate attention or harm.
So it's about creating a society where people feel safe and respected and where interactions are based on mutual dignity rather than objectification.
Exactly.
It's fascinating how these verses have been interpreted in various ways throughout history and across different Muslim communities.
Absolutely. The specific details of how modesty is expressed have varied depending on cultural norms and interpretations. But the core principle of respecting boundaries and behaving appropriately in social settings, that remains consistent.
Right.
And this brings us to another beautiful aspect of this chapter. The idea of light as this guiding force in our lives.
That's right. This chapter isn't called the light for nothing.
Exactly.
I'm really curious to explore this powerful symbolism, especially in those verses 35 through 40.
Yes.
Where the Quran introduces this incredible allegory of light representing divine guidance. It's like a beacon in the darkness, illuminating the path toward a more righteous life.
Exactly. It's a beautiful metaphor.
Yeah.
Think about the imagery like a lamp within a glass, shining brightly like a planet, fueled by a blessed olive tree.
Wow.
It's so vivid, it's almost as if you can picture it, right?
It's truly captivating.
Yeah.
What's interesting to me is that this idea of light guiding us through the darkness, it seems to be this universal human yearning.
Absolutely.
It transcends culture and religion.
And this passage speaks directly to that longing. The lamp is often interpreted as representing the Prophet Muhammad, through whom Allah's message was revealed.
Right.
It's as if the Prophet himself becomes this source of illumination, guiding people toward a greater understanding of God's will.
So the light is a symbol of knowledge and understanding.
Absolutely.
And ultimately a connection with the divine.
Yes.
It's like a pathway out of ignorance and into a higher state of awareness. It makes you think about how we can cultivate that inner light in our own lives, wouldn't you say?
That's such a profound point. This passage reminds us that true guidance often comes from a source beyond ourselves, helping us to navigate the complexities of life and make choices that are aligned with a higher purpose.
Yeah.
Perhaps by engaging with these verses and reflecting on their deeper meanings, we can nurture that inner light and find our own path towards knowledge and truth.
It's about actively seeking understanding, not just passively reading the words.
Eggs.
It's about taking those insights and applying them to our lives.
Precisely.
This chapter really speaks to that idea of striving for a just and ethical way of life that's guided by a higher purpose. It's not simply about rules and regulations.
Yes.
It's about connecting to something greater than ourselves.
Exactly. And speaking of striving, the chapter also emphasizes the importance of obedience in faith.
Okay.
Particularly in verses 47 through 56.
Okay, so it's about more than just saying, like, I believe.
Exactly.
It's about demonstrating that belief through your actions and choices.
Precisely. The chapter highlights the significance of following the teachings of Allah and the Prophet Muhammad.
Okay.
And it draws this clear contrast between those who genuinely strive to embody these teachings and those who just pay lip service to them.
So there's a clear distinction being drawn between those who walk the path of light
Yes.
and those who stray from it.
Absolutely. It's about choosing a path that leads to spiritual growth and fulfillment.
Right.
Not just in this life, but in the hereafter as well.
It's fascinating how this one chapter manages to cover so much ground.
I know, it's amazing.
Justice, social conduct, spiritual guidance, and even the consequences of our choices.
It really is.
It's like a tapestry woven with threads of wisdom and insight, urging us to reflect on our own lives and the choices we make.
It is a testament to the richness and depth of the Quran. It addresses multiple dimensions of human experience in a single chapter, inviting us to consider how these principles might apply to our own lives.
And it's remarkable how these teachings revealed centuries ago still hold relevance and offer guidance in our modern world.
Absolutely.
It speaks to their timeless wisdom and their ability to connect with the human spirit across generations and cultures.
Yes.
As we're talking about all this, I keep thinking back to that stunning metaphor of light. It's so evocative. Do you think you could unpack that a little more?
Of course. Let's delve a bit deeper into the symbolism behind that beautiful image of light.
Okay.
All right. So it's remarkable how chapter 24 of the Quran, weaves together these intricate themes, prompting us to consider how they might apply to our own lives.
As we're talking about all this, I keep thinking back to that stunning metaphor of light.
Oh, yeah.
It's so evocative.
It is.
Do you think you could unpack that a little more?
Of course. Verse 35, in particular, offers this really layered image.
Okay.
A lamp encased in glass, shining like a planet.
Wow.
All fueled by a blessed olive tree.
Okay.
It's a powerful way to convey the idea of divine illumination.
I'm really curious about the symbolism here. What do these elements represent?
Well, the lamp itself is often interpreted as a symbol of the Prophet Muhammad,
Okay.
through whom Allah's message was revealed. The glass, being both transparent and protective, right, might represent the purity and preservation of the message itself.
That's fascinating.
Yeah.
And what about the olive tree? What makes it so special?
Well, the olive tree holds this unique significance in many cultures and religions.
Right.
And in this verse, it's described as blessed.
Okay.
And its oil is said to illuminate even without being touched by fire.
Wow.
So this could allude to the inherent purity and power of divine guidance,
Okay.
which can enlighten hearts and minds even before direct revelation.
So it's suggesting that there's a potential for understanding and enlightenment within us just waiting to be ignited.
Exactly.
It's like a spark of the divine that resides within each of us.
Precisely. And the fact that the olive tree is described as neither Eastern nor Western suggests a universality to this guidance.
Okay.
It's not confined to any particular culture or geographical location.
Right.
This light is available to anyone who seeks it, regardless of their background or beliefs.
That's a beautiful thought.
Yeah.
It really speaks to the idea that the search for truth and meaning is a shared human experience.
Absolutely.
We all have that innate desire to find our way, to connect with something greater than ourselves.
Exactly. And the passage goes on to describe how this light emanates from Allah.
Okay.
And illuminates the path for those who seek it. It's a reminder that we're not alone on this journey.
Right.
There's this guiding force, a source of illumination that's always available to us.
It makes you wonder how we can cultivate that inner light in our own lives. How can we tap into that source of guidance and allow it to illuminate our path?
That's a profound question. Perhaps by engaging with these verses and reflecting on their deeper meanings,
Right.
we can begin to nurture those sparks of understanding and wisdom within ourselves. It's
Yeah.
about creating space for contemplation,
Okay.
for connecting with that inner voice that guides us towards truth and understanding.
So it's not just about passively reading the text, but actively seeking to understand its message and apply it to our lives.
Absolutely. It's an invitation to engage the Quran on multiple levels.
Okay.
Intellectual, emotionally, and spiritually. It's about allowing those words to penetrate our hearts and minds,
Right.
to inspire us to live more meaningful and purposeful lives.
It seems like this chapter is encouraging us to be more mindful, more introspective,
Indeed.
to take a step back from the busyness of life and reflect on what truly matters.
And to consider how we can align our actions and intentions with the principles of justice, truthfulness, and compassion that it so beautifully articulates.
Right.
It's about bridging the gap between our inner world and our outer actions to make sure they're in harmony with one another.
You know, as we're discussing this, I'm reminded of a verse that stood out to me earlier.
Oh, yeah.
Verse 16. It talks about the importance of responding to slander with a refusal to participate.
Yes.
It's like the Quran is giving us practical advice on how to navigate difficult situations.
Ah, yes. That verse is incredibly powerful.
It is.
It urges believers to refrain from spreading harmful rumors and to instead declare, it is not for us to repeat this. By your glory, this is a serious slander. It's like drawing a line in the sand saying, I will not be a part of this negativity.
Right. It's a call to actively resist negativity.
Yes.
And protect the dignity of others.
Absolutely.
To be a force for good,
Right.
even in the face of darkness and negativity.
Precisely. It emphasizes the responsibility we have not just to avoid speaking falsely,
Right.
but to actively challenge falsehoods and stand up for what is right.
Yeah.
Sometimes that means having the courage to speak up even when it's uncomfortable.
It's a reminder that silence in the face of injustice can be complicit.
Yes.
We have a responsibility to use our voices to promote truth and to defend those who are being wronged.
Yes, and that we have a moral obligation to speak out against wrongdoing
Right.
and to defend the truth even when it's difficult.
Yeah.
It's about aligning our actions with our values even when it takes courage and strength.
That's a powerful message, especially in today's world where misinformation and negativity can spread so easily.
It is.
It's like a reminder to be discerning, to question what we see and hear, and to use our platforms to amplify truth and positivity.
It's a timely reminder that we all have a role to play in creating a more just and compassionate society.
Yeah.
We can't just sit back and hope that someone else will fix things.
Right.
We each have a responsibility to contribute to positive change.
This chapter really challenges us to think about how we interact with the world around us.
Yes.
Both on a personal and a societal level.
It does.
It's not just about our individual actions. It's about the impact we have on those around us.
It invites us to examine our own beliefs and behaviors,
Yeah.
to consider how we treat others,
Right.
and to strive for a higher ethical standard.
This is to raise the bar, basically.
Exactly, to hold ourselves accountable for the choices we make and the impact we have on the world.
And it reminds us that even amidst darkness, there's always the potential for light to shine through.
Absolutely.
No matter how challenging things may seem, there's always hope, always a path towards greater understanding and compassion.
That's a beautiful way to put it. The chapter offers this hopeful message, reminding us that even when surrounded by negativity and challenges, we can choose to follow the path of light and contribute to a more just and illuminated world.
It's inspiring to think about the potential for positive change that emerges from these verses.
Absolutely.
It's like a blueprint for creating a better world, one that's grounded in justice, truth, and compassion.
Indeed. And it's a reminder that the journey towards understanding and enlightenment is this ongoing process, one that requires both personal reflection and collective effort.
Right.
We're all in this together, and we each have a part to play in creating a more beautiful and just world.
I'm so glad we took the time to delve into this chapter together.
Me too.
It's truly opened my eyes to the richness and depth of its message.
Yes.
It's amazing how these teachings revealed so long ago still speak to us today.
I know, it's incredible.
And offer guidance for navigating the complexities of life in the 21st century.
It's been a pleasure exploring these ideas with you.
Likewise.
And I hope our listeners have found this deep dive as enriching and thought-provoking as we have. There's so much to uncover in these verses, so much to reflect on and apply to our own lives.
Before we wrap up,
I
wanted to touch on one more theme that I found particularly relevant.
Okay.
The chapter's emphasis on personal accountability.
Yes.
It's a theme that seems to weave its way through so many of these verses.
Yes, that's a crucial aspect. Several verses highlight the idea that each individual is responsible for their own actions and choices. It's a powerful message reminding us that we can't simply blame others for our circumstances or our shortcomings.
Right.
We each have the power to choose our path.
Specifically, verses 47, 56 come to mind.
Yes.
They talk about how some people claim to believe and obey, but their actions don't align with their words.
Right.
It's like saying, okay, you might talk the talk, but are you walking the walk?
That's right. It's not enough to simply profess faith or allegiance.
Right.
True belief is demonstrated through our actions, our choices, and how we live our lives. It's about making those values a lived reality.
Yeah.
Not just an abstract ideal.
So it's about walking the walk, not just talking the talk.
Precisely. The chapter stresses that actions speak louder than words.
Right.
And that we will ultimately be held accountable for our choices, both good and bad. There's a sense of justice and accountability woven into the fabric of this chapter.
Okay.
A reminder that our choices have consequences, both in this life and in the hereafter.
It's a reminder that faith isn't passive. It's an active commitment to living in accordance with our values.
Exactly.
It's about striving to be the best version of ourselves.
Yes.
To align our actions with our deepest principles.
Exactly. It's about striving to embody the principles of justice, compassion, and truthfulness in our daily lives.
Yeah.
It's about making those values a guiding force in everything we do.
I'm also struck by how the chapter emphasizes the importance of seeking knowledge and understanding. It's like the Quran is encouraging us to be lifelong learners, to constantly seek greater understanding and wisdom.
That's an excellent point. Several verses encourage believers to reflect, question, and deepen their understanding of the world around them. It's not about blindly accepting what we're told. It's about engaging our minds, asking questions, and seeking truth from a variety of sources.
For instance, verse 44 talks about how Allah alternates night and day.
Yes.
Suggesting that there's a lesson to be learned from observing the natural world.
Exactly.
It's like the Quran is saying, look around you. There's so much to learn from the world God has created.
And verse 45 points out the diversity of life. Highlighting this awe-inspiring creativity and power of Allah.
Right.
These verses seem to be encouraging us to cultivate a sense of wonder and curiosity.
Yeah.
To approach life with an open mind and a thirst for knowledge.
It's like an invitation to approach life with an open mind and a thirst for knowledge. To be curious, to explore, to never stop learning and growing.
Precisely. And to recognize that learning is a lifelong journey, one that can lead us closer to truth and understanding.
Yeah.
The more we learn, the more we realize how much there is still to discover.
Right.
It's a humbling and inspiring realization.
It's a powerful reminder that our pursuit of knowledge shouldn't end with reading a single chapter or book.
Exactly.
It's about cultivating a mindset of continuous learning and exploration, seeking wisdom from a variety of sources, and always striving to deepen our understanding of ourselves, the world, and our place in it.
Indeed. It's about cultivating a mindset of continuous learning and exploration, seeking wisdom from a variety of sources, and always striving to deepen our understanding of ourselves, the world, and our place in it.
I find that incredibly inspiring. It suggests that our capacity for growth and understanding is limitless.
Absolutely.
As long as we keep seeking,
yes,
keep exploring, keep asking questions,
yes,
we'll continue to evolve and learn throughout our lives.
Exactly. And that by embracing curiosity and engaging in thoughtful reflection, we can continue to evolve and learn throughout our lives. It's about fostering that love of learning, that desire to delve deeper and uncover hidden truths.
This conversation has truly been enlightening.
It has.
I feel like we've only scratched the surface of this profound chapter.
Oh no, right?
There's so much more to uncover, so much more to ponder and reflect on.
It's amazing how much wisdom and guidance can be found within these verses.
Yeah.
And I hope our listeners will be inspired to continue exploring its depths on their own, to take these teachings and allow them to shape their lives in meaningful ways.
Before we move on,
Okay.
I want to circle back to something we touched on earlier.
Yes.
The chapters focus on social justice.
Right.
It's such a powerful theme that runs throughout these verses.
It is.
It's like a call to action, urging us to create a more equitable and just world.
You're absolutely right. The chapter addresses several issues related to fairness, equity, and the ethical treatment of others.
It's a reminder that our faith shouldn't be confined to our personal lives.
Right.
It should extend outwards, shaping how we interact with others and how we contribute to building a better world.
We've already talked about the strict penalties for slander and false accusations,
Yes.
which highlight the importance of protecting the innocent. It's about ensuring that everyone is treated fairly and that their dignity and reputation are protected.
And we discussed the verses encouraging marriage,
Right.
including marrying servants and maids,
Right.
and treating them with respect and fairness.
Yeah.
It's a reminder that all people, regardless of their social status, deserve to be treated with dignity and respect.
But there are also verses that specifically address the issue of slavery.
Yes.
It's a sensitive topic,
Yeah.
but one that the Quran doesn't shy away from.
Yes. Verse 33 in particular stands out.
Okay.
It encourages believers to free slaves if they see good in them,
Okay.
and to provide them with financial support from the wealth that Allah has given.
It's a radical statement, especially considering the historical context in which it was revealed.
It's a remarkable statement, especially considering the historical context in which it was revealed. It challenges the prevailing social norms of the time and advocates for a more just and compassionate approach to those who were enslaved.
Absolutely.
Yep.
It challenges the prevailing social norms of the time and advocates for a more just and compassionate approach to those who were enslaved. It's a reminder that true faith requires us to challenge injustice and to work towards creating a world where everyone is free and treated with dignity.
It's a reminder that true justice requires us to confront systems of oppression and to work towards creating a society where everyone is treated with dignity and respect. It's not just about individual acts of kindness. It's about challenging those structures that perpetuate inequality and injustice.
Precisely. It's not enough to simply avoid personal acts of injustice. We must also challenge the structures and institutions that perpetuate inequality and oppression. It's about looking beyond ourselves and working towards creating a more just and equitable world for everyone.
This chapter really pushes us to think beyond our individual actions and consider our collective responsibility to create a more just and equitable world.
It is a call to action, urging us to be agents of change, to use our voices and our actions to create a world that reflects the values of justice, compassion, and equality.
It's a call to action, urging us to not only embrace the principles of justice and compassion, but to actively work towards making them a reality in our communities and beyond.
Absolutely.
It's about putting our faith into action, not just keeping it confined to our hearts and minds.
It's a message that resonates deeply, even centuries after these verses were revealed. It speaks to the timeless nature of these principles and their enduring relevance in our lives today.
I'm so grateful for the opportunity to have this discussion with you.
Me too.
It's been a profound and thought-provoking experience.
It has.
I feel like I've gained a deeper understanding of this chapter and its relevance to my own life.
It's been a truly enriching journey exploring this chapter. It's remarkable how it addresses such a wide range of topics.
Right.
From personal conduct to social responsibility and spiritual enlightenment. It's like a guidebook for living a meaningful and purposeful life.
Yeah.
One that's grounded in faith, compassion, and justice.
It really does feel like a blueprint for a just and meaningful life. But one thing that keeps coming back to me is this idea of light and darkness that permeates the chapter.
Oh, yeah.
It's a powerful metaphor that seems to speak to the choices we face in life.
That's a great observation. It's a recurring motif that underscores the importance of seeking knowledge and guidance. It's about choosing to walk towards the light, even when surrounded by darkness and uncertainty.
Right. Remember those verses about people who follow Satan's footsteps? It talks about how they're led astray into obscenity and immorality. It paints a stark contrast between those who choose to follow a path of righteousness and those who stray from it.
Yes. Verses 20 and 21 really drive that point home. You know, they paint this stark contrast between the path of light, which represents righteousness and understanding, and the path of darkness, which leads to confusion and wrongdoing. It's like this fork in the road.
Yeah.
And we're constantly faced with these choices that determine which direction we'll take.
It's like a reminder that we have a choice to make at every turn.
Yeah.
Do we follow the path that leads towards greater awareness and understanding?
Right.
Or do we let ourselves be pulled into negativity and ignorance? Sometimes it feels like those negative forces are so strong, it's hard to resist.
And the chapter offers this really powerful image of what it means to be lost in darkness in verse 40.
Oh, yeah.
This incredibly vivid description that really captures the feeling of being utterly lost and disoriented.
Oh, yeah. It's the one about being on this vast ocean shrouded in darkness, with waves upon waves crashing over you and this thick fog that makes it impossible to see.
Yes.
It's almost claustrophobic.
It is.
It makes you feel how terrifying it would be to be without any sense of direction, any light to guide you.
Yes. It evokes this sense of being completely lost and overwhelmed. The verse says, "He to whom Allah has not granted a light has no light."
Right?
It's a powerful reminder that without divine guidance, we can easily lose our way.
It's like wandering through a maze with no exit in sight. That imagery really drives home the importance of seeking knowledge and guidance. It's like we need that light to illuminate the path ahead and help us navigate the complexities of life.
Yeah.
But it also makes me wonder, how do we find that light? What does it look like in our everyday lives?
Well, throughout the chapter, the Quran emphasizes that Allah is the ultimate source of that light.
Okay.
It's through his revelation and guidance that we can find clarity, purpose, and meaning. But it's not just about passively waiting for that light to find us.
Right.
It's about actively seeking it out.
Okay.
Through prayer, reflection, and studying the Quran.
So it's a two-way street.
Yeah.
It's about opening ourselves up to that divine guidance.
Yes.
Creating space for it to enter our lives, but also taking those steps to seek it out and make it a part of our daily lives.
Exactly. And I think it's interesting how this chapter connects the idea of light, not just with spiritual understanding, but also with social justice and ethical conduct.
Right.
It's like these two aspects are intertwined. You can't have one without the other.
That's a great point. It suggests that true enlightenment involves not only personal growth, but also a commitment to creating a more just and compassionate world.
Absolutely.
It's about taking that inner light and letting it shine outwards.
Yes.
Illuminating not just our own lives, but the lives of those around us as well.
Precisely. The chapter's emphasis on justice, truthfulness, and compassion implies that our pursuit of light should manifest in our interactions with others and our efforts to build a more equitable society.
Right.
It's about putting our faith into action, making a difference in the world around us.
So it's not enough to just focus on our own spiritual development. We have a responsibility to use that knowledge and understanding to make a positive impact on the world around us, to be a force for good, to stand up for what's right, and to fight against injustice.
Absolutely. I think that's a really important takeaway, especially in today's world. There's so much darkness and division, it's easy to feel overwhelmed. But this chapter reminds us that we all have the potential to be a source of light, to bring about positive change, and to contribute to a more just and compassionate world.
It's a powerful message of hope and empowerment. Even small acts of kindness, speaking up against injustice, or simply striving to be more understanding and compassionate towards others, those things can all contribute to creating a more illuminated world.
That's beautifully said, and I think that's a perfect note to end on chapter 24. The light offers us a timeless message of hope and guidance. It challenges us to seek knowledge, to act with justice and compassion, and to be a source of illumination in a world that often feels shrouded in darkness.
Thank you so much for guiding us through this deep dive. It's been an illuminating experience. It's given me a lot to think about and to apply to my own life.
The pleasure was all mine. I encourage all of you listening to reflect on the messages of this chapter and to consider how its teachings can guide you on your own path towards understanding and enlightenment.
And that's our deep dive for today. Don't forget to check out the show notes for links to further resources if you'd like to explore this chapter further. Until next time, keep seeking the light.